Welcome back to another interview, everyone. Today I'm joined by Pampos Grigoriou. How are you doing, Pampos?
How are you, man? Good, I'm very good. Thank you for inviting me.
All good, man. I'm glad to have you on. So first off, I want to just touch on your last fight with Chris Dizenel. Obviously, that fight for you, it was a late notice replacement. You were scheduled to fight somebody else. Did that affect your preparation at all for that fight?
Um, to be honest, no. Yes, if you think that I used to train for like 2 months for a different opponent, and then they changed it, and it was completely different style. So it was my my other opponent was southpaw, more boxer. So anyway, but to be honest, I was okay with this because uh, I don't really like to fight southpaws. So and my other opponent was southpaw, but yeah, it was okay. Was okay. I was ready and I didn't care. I knew that I'm gonna win anyway.
Yeah, obviously you got that fifth round finish to win the title. Is that how you expected it to go? Did you think you would drag him into deep waters and then finish him?
I was expected to finish him earlier, to be honest. But he was tough, man. He was tough. I was hitting him so hard to the head, and he didn't go down, man. He got dizzy a couple times, but he was tough. But eventually, I got the finish.
And was there anything that in that fight alone that you learned that you will take on with you into future fights?
From this fight, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, so from that
Uh,
that fight with Dizonel, is there anything that you kind of learned about yourself that you'll take on into the future fights?
uh, what I learned about myself is uh, that if I feel okay with myself and my fight come and everything, nobody can beat me, man. I was trained so hard for 5 rounds, 5 rounds, 5 rounds, man. Ev- like uh, my whole camp, I was training for 5 rounds plus I was training like for 10 minutes round, um, not just five. So I was feeling ready. I was feeling so comfortable. I could fight like five more rounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and I realized that if I'm ready, nobody can beat me.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously after that fight, you've got the call from the UFC to compete on Dana White's Contender Series. Talk to me a little bit how that offer came about.
Um, so actually, before my title fight, my current manager now, he approached me and he's like, "You wanna work with us?" And I said, at that time I had a different manager, and so our contract was almost over. So I said to him, "Look, man, if you sign me with UFC after this fight, the title?" He said yes, and I'm like, "Okay, we're gonna sign." So that's why, man. He promised me that, and that's why I went there and I gave everything because I knew after that fight I'm gonna get the call.
And do you remember the feeling that you felt when you were told that you'll be fighting on Dana White's Contender Series? Can you recite that feeling?
Yeah, that was amazing. Actually, I was waiting to I was waiting from them to call me for a short notice fight. Uh, and then I don't know if you saw it, but I supposed to fight with Chris Moutinho on June
Yeah.
16th. Um, and I was getting ready for that fight. So my manager called me and was like, "Okay, they want you to fight the Contender Series." Of course, I was very happy. Uh, and because man, it's my dream. That's the reason I came to US. So I was really happy about that, and that gave me more like will, to train and do my thing.
And I know myself that in the Cypriot culture, family's a massive thing. Do you remember what it was like to ring your family and tell them that you were getting this opportunity?
Actually, everybody was very happy when I got the call, because they are expecting a lot, like from me, man, because I'm the only one um uh from Cyprus now. Yeah, if you know, like Costas Filippo used to be in
Yeah.
UFC, but now I'm the only one. So I have a lot of support from Cyprus, from Greece, and when I announced the fight, everybody was like drive crazy, man. Everybody was texting me, blah blah. The sites, media, crazy. So um, yeah, the support was a lot, but and that's why I have to go there and uh, take care of business, man, because of my people, because they believe in me and they support me. So I'm gonna go there, finish the fight, and sign with UFC.
Yeah. So I know you've just said it there that you were waiting on the UFC to give you a short notice, kind of like replacement fight, so you could jump in at short notice to fight someone. Do you prefer the fact that you're fighting on the Contender Series and you're getting time to prepare for it instead?
I'm ready anyway, man. Anytime I'm ready. I train hard. Even if they call me to fight tomorrow, I'm gonna fight tomorrow. Uh, um, I don't have any issue with that. But if they want me to fight Contender Series, I'm gonna fight Contender Series. But meanwhile, if they call me before the fight, to fight the UFC, of course, I'm gonna jump in, man.
Yeah. And obviously the Contender Series is something that's become really big in the UFC. Why did you feel that this was the right move for you at this stage in your career?
Can you ask me again because I didn't hear you very well?
Yeah. So obviously the Contender Series has become quite a big thing in the UFC. It's a way for young fighters to come through into the UFC and show the people what they're all about. Why did you feel that this was the right move for you at this stage in your career?
The right move for me. Um, Look, man. So when they called me for the Contender Series, uh, I was like, um, actually they sent me the opponent, the possible opponent that I have. So after they called me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna fight for the Contender Series, and I said to my manager, I'm like, uh, let's keep an eye for the events before the Contender Series. So uh, for me and for my career, it's like um, it's a it's a big thing, man. Of course, the goal is the UFC, but um, the Contender Series is not a is okay. It's not a. I mean, look, everybody was preferred to fight in the UFC, like direct to the UFC, right? But the Contender Series, I'm like, okay, it's a trial. I'm gonna go there, and then sign with the UFC when I get the win. But um, after so many years of training, fighting in Cyprus, and then here, uh, this is the biggest moment of my career. So, um, and I mean, I make history, man, for Cyprus. So, um, for me, it's a big thing, and I hope after this fight, um, to sign with UFC. You know what? I had a pre-interview with the UFC 2 days ago, and they asked me, um, if we make an event in Cyprus, you think it's gonna be sold out? I'm like 100%, 100%. And then my my last defeat uh, was from Christian Rodriguez. He's in UFC now. He fought with the 18-year guy. What's his name?
Um,
Rojas, I think.
Raul Rojas,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So and he commented under my post when I announced my Contender Series. And he was like, "Congrats," and whatever. And I'm like, "Okay, man, we have to run it back, in the UFC." So I said, I said to them, to my interview, I'm like, "Man, we have to schedule this fight. We have to make the rematch in the UFC." So they like the idea. So let's see, man. He has a fight on July. In July, you never know. You never
Exactly.
know.
His opponent may pull out. You never know, and you could be
Yeah,
the perfect replacement for
exactly, man. Perfect matchup. I
that.
want
Yeah,
my revenge.
yeah. So as camp started for this fight against Cameron Smotherman.
So I started my fight camp like 2 week, no, 3 weeks ago.
Mhm.
I was ready because if I had the fight on June 16th with Chris
Yeah,
Moutinho, and I was ready, right? So then when they announced the Contender Series, I took a break like a week, to go light. Um, but now the camp, it's very tough, man. Tough. I mean, tough, and I train with like the best fighters in the world, man. The UFC guys are just sterling. So um, to train with these people, I think for me the fight is gonna be like sparring. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So we train really hard, man.
In an interview with one of my colleagues, Dylan Rush, that you did back in February, you mentioned how Merab Dvalishvili is your favourite training partner because of how hard he goes and the pace that he puts on. How much confidence does it give you going into your fights, knowing that you've been training with some of the best in the world?
Yeah, man, a lot, a lot. I'm like, if I train and I do sparring with these guys, who in the world can beat me, man? This is what I say to myself. And I like to spar with them so they kick my ass, you know what I mean? So I go to the fight and I feel comfortable, you know? What's the worst scenario, you can
Mm,
find after after this guy?
yeah, true. And obviously, Aljamain Sterling, like you mentioned before, how much have you taken from him and his mindset as a UFC champion?
Uh, I take a lot, man. I mean, I ask him things, he gives me advices, um, and he helped me a lot, man. I mean, he's always there, um, and because he's the best fighter in the world now, man. I mean, uh, we train together. He pushing me a lot, man. He pushing me a lot. Um, and I appreciate that because we are in at the gym. We are like a family, if I need help, somebody from the gym will help me, and um, that's the thing that we have. We are always together. We train together, and we try to get eh, the small things from everybody, not just from Aljamain, but from everybody because everybody has a different style.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you've just mentioned before that you're feeling quite a bit of pressure from back home and the pressure to win. Have you spoken to Aljamain about dealing with that pressure and has he given you any advice on how to deal with that pressure?
Actually, I didn't tell him about that. No,
No,
no, no.
fair enough. So obviously your opponent, like I've said, is Cameron Smotherman. How much do you know about him as a fighter and his sort of style?
Uh, I know, man. He's okay. He's a tough kid. He's young, but man, He's he's not um his time, man. He's young. Okay, now is my time, not his. So he's young. He's gonna have the opportunity in the future, but n- now, no. Now is my chance, man. So I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna finish him. Uh, and I'm gonna get the contract, man, because win is the only option for me. You know, win is the only option for me. And I go there and I go 100%, man. 100%. I'm gonna leave my heart in the cage. So be ready.
Yeah. And how important do you think your fight with Cameron is in helping the growth of mixed martial arts in Cyprus? Because, like you've said, the only fighter before you to fight in the UFC that's from Cyprus is Kostas Filippo. So, how important do you think that is for the growth of the sport in Cyprus?
Very important, man. Very important because um to have an athlete from Cyprus in UFC, it's a big thing, man. Then they're gonna start like more people. They're gonna start searching about martial arts. Uh, they're gonna start like trying martial arts, and not just the people, man. It's just the government and the people from the commissions and everything to give more attention to the athletes there, you know. So to have a Cypriot athlete in the UFC, in the biggest promotion in the world, it's a big thing, man. And it's a big thing from the people, for the people in Cyprus, because they they want to see the Cyprus flag in the UFC, man. Is it, I mean, I think it's the biggest thing, man. It's the biggest thing. So, and for me, I try to motivate people. Like I'm getting like many messages from young like athletes, and they asking me how they can, achieve what I already achieved. So they are asking me what to do, any advice, So uh, and this is what I'm trying to do, man, to give them hope, you know, to give them like even if you're from Cyprus, you can say with UFC, all right? But the most important is not to stay in Cyprus. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can, yeah, you're from Cyprus, but if you want to say you with UFC, you have to leave Cyprus. You know what I mean? Because there we have very like uh, high level kickboxing, Muay Thai, but not MMA. All right,
Yeah.
so you have to go like for example in the US to train with the best uh, fighters and the best coaches in the world. So this is how it is.
Yeah. And it obviously gives the younger generation hope as well because we're such a small country. Being able to make it to the UFC may seem like just a dream, but to see you doing that, it gives a lot of the young generation hope as well.
Yeah, man. Because when I was young, man, I was watching the videos on YouTube with the UFC fighters, and I'm like, I wanna be there. I wanna be there, man. I was dreaming about that, man. When I was young, was so crazy. Uh, and now here I am, man.
Yeah.
So
And obviously being from Cyprus myself, I know that we love our food. Cyprus love their food. We do some of the best cuisine in the world. How do you keep your weight down outside of camp when you've got Cypriot food and Greek food around you?
look, man, here in US, I don't really like eat, um, you know, uh, Cypriot food or uh, Greek food in general. Uh, but because now I have my training, I cook, you know. But when I go back home, of course, I gain like 10 pounds or whatever.
Yeah. Just in souvlaki, just £10 in pure souvlaki.
Every day.
Yeah. What's your favorite? Is it chicken souvlaki or pork souvlaki?
Fox like,
Pork, okay. And I mean, my yaya's cooking is the best. Every
uh,
Greek person will say their yaya's cooking is the best, but how much do you miss that when being in America, the home cooking and family cooking?
oh man, you cannot compare the food here from, you know, with Cyprus. I mean, that's why when I go to Cyprus, I gain weight, man, because I miss the food, man. I miss the fresh food, the traditional food. And my mother was asking me, "What do you want me to cook today? What do you want me to cook tomorrow? What do you want me to,
Yeah.
because I go there, it's like I'm in a restaurant and I give orders.
That sounds perfect, mate. It sounds perfect. But yeah, to finish off the interview, because I don't want to keep you for too much longer, because I know you're busy and you've got your full day ahead. I'd just like to do a little fun segment at the end. And the first question is, if you could change or add one rule in MMA, what would it be?
If I change one rule in MMA, I want actually I want to change the weight cut, man.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a
The
good
weight
one.
cut.
If you could create the perfect fighter using fighters from past and present, who would you use for the attributes of striking, grappling, and heart?
You want me to give you three different fighters?
You can do, yeah. So one for striking, one for grappling, and one for heart.
Striker, I'm gonna say Barbosa. Uh, uh, Heart, I'm gonna say. There are so many, man. Uh, okay, I'm gonna say Robbie Lawler, I think.
Good shout.
And grappling, I'm gonna say Aljamain. No,
Yeah, good one. And then the last question from me, mate. How do you see your fight with Cameron Smotherman going down in August?
knockout, man. Knockout.
Knockout.
There is no other way to go down. There is a
Yeah,
knockout. And you can see it. Probably it's gonna be in the first round, but it's gonna be a knockout.
yeah. And then if you want to say anything to anybody out there watching, what would you like to say?
I wanna say just believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Don't listen to anybody, man. Many many people they're gonna try to pull you back. Don't listen to anybody. Do your dream, even if you're failure, you know? Even if you're fair, you have to do your dreams.
Yeah, that's a great message to end on. I really appreciate your time today, Pampos. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, man.